She was the first one to arrive and the last one to leave. Not because anyone asked her to, because that's who she was. For 4 years, Elena carried a team of 9. She didn't manage them. She simply made everything around them work. The schedules, the client escalations, the reports nobody else wanted to write. When a client threatened to leave in year 2, Elena spent a weekend rebuilding the entire account proposal. Her manager presented it on Monday. It landed. He got the handshake. She got an email that said, "Thanks, team." When the new analyst started in year 3, no one had time to train him. So Elena did, between her own deadlines, on her own hours. 6 months later, he was one of the best on the team. His performance review credited a supportive team culture. Elena's name appeared nowhere in it. These were not dramatic moments. No one would have called them heroic. That was precisely the problem. The work was so seamlessly done that it looked like it was never done at all. Then one Tuesday in March, she stopped. Not loudly, not dramatically. She just did exactly what her job description said, nothing more. Nobody noticed for 3 weeks. To understand what happened, you have to understand how Elena's company worked. Not how it said it worked, how it actually worked. The company had a quarterly recognition program. Awards, bonuses, public praise in all-hands meetings. In theory, it rewarded results. In practice, it rewarded visibility. The people who presented the most, who emailed leadership the most, who narrated their own contributions the loudest. Elena didn't narrate, she executed. And in a system that rewarded narration, execution was invisible. The promotion came in October, not for Elena, for Marcus, a colleague who'd joined 2 years after her. He was competent. He was also relentlessly visible. Every win documented, every save narrated to leadership within the hour. Elena didn't complain. She didn't confront anyone. She simply recalculated. 4 years of evidence had produced a clear conclusion. This system does not see me. So she stopped being invisible by becoming exactly as visible as everyone else. She did her hours, she attended her meetings, she answered her emails, and she gave the company precisely what it measured. Nothing less, and now, nothing more. A frog sat at the edge of a pond and watched an ox drink from the water. The ox was enormous, powerful, calm, indifferent. It didn't notice the frog at all. The frog puffed itself up and asked the other frogs, "Am I as big as the ox now?" They said no. So it puffed harder. "Now?" Still no. It puffed and puffed until it burst. That's the original lesson. Don't pretend to be what you're not. Don't inflate yourself beyond your nature. It's a fine moral. That's the fable. Here's what it misses. The interesting question isn't about the frog, it's about the ox. What happens when the ox looks around and realizes the pond rewards frogs who puff up, not oxen who carry the load? What does the ox do then? It doesn't puff up. That's beneath it. It doesn't leave, not yet. Instead, it does something far more devastating. It stops pulling. The first sign was small. A client email that used to get answered in an hour now took a day, then 2 days. A report that used to arrive Tuesday morning started arriving Thursday afternoon. The second sign was social. 2 junior analysts who used to rely on Elena for guidance started making mistakes. Not because they were incompetent, because the safety net had been quietly removed. One of them sent a deliverable to a client with the wrong quarter's data. It wasn't a disaster, But it was the kind of mistake Elena would have caught at a glance. She used to review everything before it left the team. Now she reviewed nothing that wasn't hers. The other analysts started coming to meetings unprepared. Not out of laziness, but because Elena used to send a briefing email the night before. Nobody had asked her to, she just had. And when she stopped, no one knew the ritual had ever existed. The third sign was the one that finally got leadership's attention. A quarterly review that had always been flawless came in late, incomplete, and wrong in 2 places. Elena's manager flagged it. Elena's response was 4 words. "That's not my responsibility." She was right. It wasn't in her job description. It never had been. She had simply been doing it for 4 years because she cared. And now she didn't. Elena didn't quit. That's what makes this story hard to learn from. She stayed. She showed up every day. She met every metric. On paper, nothing had changed. But the team around her slowly hollowed out. The junior analysts left within 6 months. The client satisfaction scores dipped. The invisible infrastructure that Elena had built, the thing nobody could name or measure, was gone. And nobody could rebuild it, because nobody had ever acknowledged it existed. The ox didn't leave the pond. It just stopped carrying the weight. And the pond discovered that it had been floating on something it never bothered to see. Elena's story isn't unusual. Research on organizational behavior calls it citizenship fatigue. What happens when someone consistently goes beyond their role, receives no recognition, and eventually withdraws to the contractual minimum? But the fable reveals something the research doesn't name directly. It's not just about recognition. It's about what a system is built to see. This is the visibility trap. Organizations claim to reward performance. In practice, they reward the narration of performance. The distance between those 2 things is where your best people quietly disengage. Ask yourself this. In your organization, could someone do exceptional work for a year and have no one outside their immediate team know about it? If the answer is yes, you don't have a recognition program. You have a marketing contest. And here's the second pattern, the withdrawal spiral. When one person stops carrying invisible weight, the effects are never contained. The people who depended on them start failing. The people who admired them start recalculating their own effort. It cascades. Think about the last person who left your team and was harder to replace than anyone expected. Now ask, were they hard to replace because of their skills or because of the invisible systems they had built that nobody else understood? The frog in the fable destroyed itself by pretending to be bigger than it was. That's a personal failure. But the ox's story is a systemic one. The ox didn't fail. The pond failed the ox. If you manage people, look for the ones who never ask for recognition. Not because they don't need it, because they've already decided whether your system deserves their full effort. By the time you notice the withdrawal, the decision was made months ago. An old fable warns us not to pretend to be bigger than we are. A modern allegory asks, what happens when the biggest thing in the room decides to become small?